I wanted to start share briefly with me just to tell you a little bit about myself and why I come to the conclusion, which I come a little bit later. I did a lot of projects, interestingly, like fly ash for sand between 2004 and 2008. Did some management consulting afterwards, and then I worked in a global machine tool company. 2019, I'm responsible for VP operation at the US. And beginning of January 2020, I'm responsible for the entire Chinese market, which basically coincides also with the start of the COVID crisis. So this leads a little bit to the problems, which I will show a little bit later. Now, EOS itself as a company was largely not prepared for something like a COVID crisis. And why is that? Why do I say that? Our R&D and production are mainly in Europe, some in the United States, but definitely nothing in China. We are mainly delivering technology, to be honest, but we are mainly delivering a technology which was developed outside of China to customers in China. And our organization was highly reliant on support from outside China, from Singapore, from the States, or from Europe. So the travel ban for us was really a significant impact on our ability to provide solutions to our customers in China. Now, on contrary, every third 3D printer in the world is sold in China. Definitely one of the largest markets, and it's dominated very strongly by local players. The trade war put its footsteps on this as well, which basically it's new rules because of the trade war. Nonetheless, the growth in China throughout 2020 has been maintained. So most of the market estimate between 20–30% growth, and the growth in China is expected to accelerate in the next couple of years. When I use my bio because I came quite into the presentation, into the company, and looked at it, how it will change. For the presentation, I was asked, how is my outlook for the future? And before 2015, it was clear that China wanted to have foreign technology to build up its own capability to serve the market as the workbench of the market. Then came the America First policy. The America First policy transformed into first policy in China because things were not available anymore, and China figured out that the global supply chain becomes a bigger problem for them. Therefore, sourcing things in, not from global companies, became a priority for the company. Then came from China being looked at as the problem. China looked outside afterwards by having just a better crisis management, thanks to its political organization and so on. Nonetheless, we closed office for COVID reasons from 1st of February 2020 until 15th of February 2020. And since 15, 17th, we are open with mask. And I think the mask in the office we don't have anymore since April, May 2020, which is exactly around the time when the rest of the world came into the COVID crisis. For the future, it's clear with all these thousands of machines which are produced in China for the Chinese market, they will be ready for export at one point. And as soon as they can export and they achieve the quality they achieve, we will face new competition globally from Chinese players. Now, players, they all make IPOs. They traded at multiples between 20 and 100 times of sales. Therefore, they have money, they have the people, so we have to take them serious. And it's interestingly that we don't have a lot of Chinese people in this seminar today as well. Now, what did we do as EOS? Chinese market quite serious. It's a very important market for us as growth, for the growth path. But we want to focus on the customer needs, and we had to double down on our strategy. So first but not least, we had to rehire some of our which we lost to competitors into the market because we could not get trained trainers in from Germany, from Singapore, from anywhere. Nobody could come in, so we had to hire employees back, and we had to accelerate the remote training, but there's only so much you can train remotely. We made end of last year, beginning of this year, an investment of 50 million RMB in Shanghai to open, to showcase our latest technologies. You see a picture on the left side. And this is because when I went to customers, I think John mentioned it in Australia, you still have a knowledge gap. You still have a gap in post-processing. You still have a lot of issues on the skill base, and therefore a lot of people buy a new machine and then don't necessarily know what to do. And similar as other people as well, most of them invest because of state financing, and then afterwards they don't really know what to do with the 3D printer. So having a training center which is state of the art, having post-processing to show the best what is available in post-processing, metal as well as plastic, having 3,000 square meters just to show the latest and having a lab will allow us to play differently in China. We will be more aggressive on the go-to-market, not because we were not so happy with the say, but we need to understand exactly the customer need from Chinese customers, so we can design the solutions for them. This automatically leads with an independence of the Chinese organization. That also means that I need to have a good career path for getting the best people on board in China. And end of last year, we did have the first machine which was designed in China and made in Europe, and we will drive further on this path. Now, the outlook is not clear, but it's clear that the market will grow in China, and the market will grow quickly because industrial application, mold and die, it's not anymore a question which mold maker wants to make 3D printing and you have to explain 3D printing. It's about how to back down. You have hundreds of mold makers who have now 3D printing machines. So it becomes from a blue market into a red market. So the market will grow in China. We have to be ready for it. The big question is, as you saw with the investment, as you saw with what we are doing, which business model will succeed. And this is something we have a lot of partners in Europe, which we use for data preparation, for data sharing, for post-processing, for quality checks, and so on. And they don't have necessarily a strong presence in China. It's important for setting up a simple presentation like I do today. We had 2 days preparation because of the great Chinese firewall. Having always and have to consult to Europe or have to consult in the headquarters will not make us more successful. We have to be closer to customers. The trade war made the world a little bit more segregated, so we have to build in China for China. And that would be the end of my presentation.
Well, we have to.
I tried to keep it in the famous 15 minutes. I hope I did.
You did a great job. Thank you so much, Marcel. We have a great question here. Any of your activities supported financially by the local government?
No, I'm not against. If anybody wants. Okay.
So if you're a government and you want to give EOS some money in China, let them know. Being a European company in China, how do you compete with the local Chinese OEMs? Do they have political advantage?
Sure, they have political advantage, but I think everybody has in his home country has a political advantage. We have to play on the strengths what we have and not complain too much about the edges we have. So our strength is on quality, it's on reliability, it's on innovation, and it's on getting the things right in the triangle of powder, of the material, of processes, and of getting the right machine right. We have to play these strengths, and therefore we need to have a showcase where we don't have to trust on PowerPoint presentation, but we can read out the cases.
Well, thank you so much, Marcel, for sharing with us today what it's like to operate in China, how to set up shop there, some of the considerations so that we hopefully can support this thriving market. So thank you so much, Marcel. If you're interested in learning more about Marcel and his journey, feel free to reach out to him during the virtual networking.